Times that I'm able to come up on this show and start off a show, and something has happened in the LSU space that has very much irritated me. Now, one thing that has not irritated me is the simple fact that every single day that we get to come out here and talk about our good friends over at FanDuel. Every show is presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. Go sign up over there today for more. Have any questions, go to fanduel.com/RG. But I'm over there on Saturdays betting live games. Maybe you should be there as well if you have the discretionary income. No. The thing that irks me more than anything, and I put this on our message board last night before the video was even released, before we were able to see the incident when Jabbar Juluke, it was announced that Jabbar Juluke, the running backs coach and associate head coach for the University of Florida, if you're on the message board, you would have seen this, is that we had reported through the message board that we had evidence and had been told that Jabbar Juluke, the associate head coach for Florida and running backs coach, slapped an LSU player. What makes me aggravated about this is that in no way humanly possible should we be in a situation where a coach at Florida or any institution at any game at any given point should be placing their hands on another team's player, much less putting their hands on a player at all. Jabbar Juluke has been a lot of things, and there's been a lot of things around this state that has been said about him. Him putting his hands on a player. Now, we don't know all the things that constituted what led to that altercation. But regardless of what was said in that altercation, him putting his hands on Joel Rogers, the safety out of West Feliciana, is completely out of line. In case you missed it, Jabbar Juluke was suspended 3 games by the SEC for openly slapping Joel Rogers. I was given this today by multiple sources, and I never come out here and say sources. I was given this today by a couple of sources who, by the way, went out of their way to tell me this when I did not even ask. Joel Rogers is the type of human being and type of young man that puts on his chin strap, buckles up his chin strap, and comes to work every single day. He is quiet. He doesn't talk shit to anybody. He's only about putting in work. And as one source confirmed to me today, if we had 85 Joel Rogerses, we would, in the attitude and what he brings to our program, meaning LSU, every single day, we would win national titles every single year because he always puts his head down and goes to work. Jabbar Juluke should be embarrassed, and he should be ashamed, and there's no amount of apology that he's going to come out with that's going to make me believe that he's fully apologetic. I'm sure that there's going to be some kind and some form of apology that he publicly comes out with, and he's not sorry. He's not sorry. I'm sure that he's contacted Joel Rogers and tried to make amends on a situation that he should not have done. But even a coach slapping the player, which is completely uncalled for and should have never happened. And even though you have a coach who's so insecure of himself that he feels that he has to put his hands on somebody, when you go out there for the next 3.5 hours and get your ass waxed. Because make no mistake about it, Florida got their asses waxed last Saturday. Offensively, the side of the ball that you were on, Joel Rogers gets the last laugh. Blake Baker and Briankelly and Jake Olson get the last laugh. Corey Raymond, who you fired, gets the last laugh because you run a pathetic program. Billy Napier is 20-21 in his time at Florida, and it's unraveling at the seams. If you want to see what someone who has run really good programs looks like, why don't you ask Briankelly? Because when you look at Briankelly and what he's done over the last 10 years, well, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Oh, and by the way, he's already at 90 wins the last 10 years, and we're not even done with the season yet. The man averages 10 wins a season. That is his threshold. But meanwhile, you have an outright pedestrian, an idiotic coaching staff who thinks that it is okay to put their hands on a player. Did this past week not tell us anything about, and I get that sport is sport, but why would a coach think in his right mind that it is remotely okay to put his hands on a player? Now, I'm assuming a lot of you have seen the video by now, and it's a joke. But the bigger joke is how college football reacts to something like this. Sharon Moore at Michigan got suspended 2 games. Then he got to pick the 2 games, and he got an extra game suspension that has to happen next year on the game of his choosing. Jabbar Juluke is lucky he wasn't fired. And the truth of the matter is that Florida staff is all probably going to be fired at the end of the year. Competition is competition. And I understand Jabbar Juluke is probably feeling the pressure right now because he's probably about to get fired. But in no way humanly possible is it okay to put your hands on a player. What also is not okay is, and what makes me more pissed off, is the player that he did it to. I have been doing this for a little while now. And there's only been probably a handful of times where I would just say sources specifically come to give info in this kind of regard. In this situation, that you have multiple ones of them saying the same exact thing at the same exact time, defending a player, and some of them where they don't even coach that side of the football. Or they don't even have any remote ties to Joel Rogers. I am ashamed to say that we are in a place where a coach thinks that he can put his hands on a player. And he should be flat out embarrassed. But what makes me mad more than anything is that this kid puts his head down and goes to work every single day. And he didn't deserve for what you did. And that apology means nothing to me, nor should it mean anything to Joel Rogers. And good on Joel Rogers for not overreacting and continuing to saying, hey, I'm getting pushed back by my players. I'm going to stand my ground. And he did. Good on him. But I'm so glad that Florida, who tried to be very cocky coming into a game and try to set a tone, that defense went out there and waxed your ass. Joel Rogers plays safety. And the LSU safety room had legitimately an answer for your ass last night when they had 4 picks. Or Saturday night, when they ran out there and got 4 interceptions. The first player that you can see on the LSU Plus series, by the way, when Deshaun Spears catches a pick 6, you see Joel Rogers running down there and celebrating with a teammate because he's happy for the guy that he has to go to battle with every single day. I got to be real with you. I hope Jabbar Juluke gets fired. I do. Because it's a joke. And it's a joke that you only gave him a 3-game suspension. Now, I kind of understand why you give him a 3-game suspension, because look at Sharon Moore. But he's not going to make it at the end of the season because Miami's got Florida this week, and they're going to get their asses waxed again. It pisses me off, to be real with you. It makes me so infuriated to see a coach think that he could get away or try to get away with something like this, that he thinks that it's okay, which I'm sure he doesn't think it's okay. But the bottom line is, how was he allowed to coach the game? Billy, do you not have any regard for what happened on the sidelines? That you allowed a man who slapped a player to stand on your sidelines? Jabbar Juluke is the Louisiana dude. And I understand that, but that's a joke. It's a joke. And with all due respect, Travis, the safety room had 4 interceptions. You had 5 total. That safety room had Joel Rogers' back, and I'm glad that they waxed that ass. Nevertheless, we are live. Everyone do us a favor and hit the like and share. Brambo, that Florida is not upset in Miami. DM me. DM me. Put money on it. They're not beating them. That team's done. Caleb Banks just mailed it in. Those players are starting to mail it in. They're not going in Miami and win. At least I don't think that they are. If they do, then they do. I've been wrong before. They're not beating Miami. I don't care what you say. All right. But nevertheless, hit the like and share. Share to all those groups and all those social media pages. Fat Guy Runs says, checking in from the 901, Big Memphis, Tennessee today. Nuss news about practice is spicy. It is spicy. Not as spicy, in my humble opinion, as what we're going to get to next. Or not next to next. Not as spicy as what we just talked about. But Brian Kelly, yes, was on the SEC teleconference this morning. We're clearly talking about this Nussmeier thing when we come back out of the teleconference. We'll give you our thoughts. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Things that LSU needs to do this week. You are accomplished, and the week is won if you do what? We'll talk about that. You win the week if you don't do this. We'll talk about that. LSU's do's and don'ts for this week versus Southeastern. We'll talk about that as well. I did not put this in the description. We will talk about this as well. I'm going to give you some week 3 stats, where the things stand. Stats this early in the season are somewhat meaningless because of some of the competition that you played. I do think it can tell a story about you offensively, though. It can definitely tell a story about you. Defense has played better than what they've done statistically. The offense has played a little bit worse than what theirs is. And we'll talk about that here tonight as well. All right. Let's get to a couple comments before we do get rolling. Where is everybody watching from tonight? Where is everybody watching from tonight? Mitch is in the 337 to NC. Go Tigers. Good to have you in here with us. Matt JD says, go Tigers from the 540. Maybe not to be mistaken with the 504. Gotta love it. I don't know where the 540 is. I don't. But where is it? Travis says 5 interceptions. No, the safety room had 4. You had 5 total. Nola P says it was sad. Miami might smoke them and they get fired. Very well could happen. Very well can happen. I think they're getting fired. Personally. Matthew says, dude is a clown completely. Matthew. I mean, it's clown-like behavior. Clown-like behavior. AJ Bama is in the 205. Good to have you with us. If you're on Twitter, do us a favor, too. Just hit that repost. Hit that retweet. We greatly appreciate when y'all do that. Hit that retweet. We greatly appreciate it. Cecilia says, Travis, good to have you in here, good sir. Matt JD says, Virginia is where it's at. Okay, I got you. Brandon's in the 770, Winder, Georgia. Got a lot of family in the greater Georgia or greater Atlanta area. I love that place. I love the greater Atlanta area. It's always beautiful. Always beautiful. Jay Smack says, where's the video at? I haven't seen it, nor can I find it. It is on Twitter, is where you can see it. I could show it to you here, but because we have it, but it's on Twitter if you want it. You can go check it out. But he openly slaps Joel Rogers. Absolute idiot behavior. Terry says, Raceland, Louisiana, good to have you in here with us as well. Robinson says Jesse O'Neill, but Robinson, Illinois. Okay. Fighting the Illini got a big game this week. Big game for Brett Bielema, the Fighting Illini this week. Can they beat Indiana? They're a top 10 team on the AP poll. If anybody cares about the AP poll, I don't really know if you should care about the AP poll. I think some of those voters have lost their godforsaken minds. That's just me. All right. Everyone do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook, it's all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Every episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. You know what FanDuel is. You know what they represent. go over to FanDuel today, sign up. We might have some things for you later on in the year. But go over to FanDuel, sign up. Got any questions, go to FanDuel.com/RG today for more details. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we talk about Brian Kelly mentioning Garrett Nussmeier on the SEC teleconference, what he thinks. I'm going to defend the point because I completely agree with him. But we'll talk about that next, and then LSU's do's and don'ts. We'll get to that. Stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick.
We're back.
All right. Brian Kelly was on the SEC teleconference today, as he is every Wednesday throughout the season. And he stated on the SEC teleconference, when he was asked about Garrett Nussmeier, if he was going to sit out this week. I know that it has been a point of contention from some LSU fans. If you don't believe it, it has been the number one talking point this week. Go to our YouTube channel. Subscribe there, by the way, if you haven't done so already. But you can look at any comment because I go through them pretty regularly throughout the day to see what the talking points from you, the fans of LSU, want to talk about and what you believe LSU should do here. I have been asked, it has been talked about, it has been brought up. Does Garrett Nussmeier need to sit after the news of Brian Kelly saying that Garrett Nussmeier had a torso injury? It was of my opinion on Monday. It is of my opinion as of yesterday, and it's of my opinion today. No, he shouldn't. Guys, game reps mean so much. They've always meant more than anything else that you can do in practice. I've heard a lot of you in the beginning of the season talking about, well, the reason we're so bullish, or one of the reasons we're so bullish on LSU being a playoff contender, maybe even a national title contender, it's not just because of what you did in the portal, but Garrett Nussmeier's coming back for his second year and final year, his fifth year, and it's really just second year as a starter. Well, then what does it mean to be a second-year starter? Because those game reps have to mean something, and they do. Can you beat Southeastern without Garrett Nussmeier? Yes. But Brian Kelly on the SEC teleconference, like he did on Monday, which I guess LSU fans just kind of glossed over, was he said, listen, guys, he said that Garrett is on the other side of this, meaning he's healthy. But that also comes with some conversations that we need to have. All right, fine. He's healthy. You said you managed the game because you were working through things with your quarterback. You didn't want to put Garrett in situations where he could re-injure himself. Okay, that's fine. You still won the game. You did the same thing versus Clemson. He ended the game versus Clemson going 11 for 11. Sounds good. I get it. I think it's a massive plus that you were able to manage the game the way that you did and do the things that you did. Because, guys, quite honestly, if you hit the field goal against Clemson before the half, you beating Clemson and Florida 20-10 in a situation where you had one hand tied behind your back. But there's a couple of things that I want to readdress. Brian Kelly stated again today that Garrett is coming out of this, meaning he's not injured anymore. Sounds good. Then that means that the offense cannot continue to look the same. Brian Kelly stated today on the SEC teleconference that Garrett has been able to do things in practice, and we've been able to rep things in practice that this week that, quite honestly, we have not been able to do the last 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. And I still think from an offensive perspective that some grace on some throws down the field needs a little bit of time for timing and situations and how they look. But you can't say that he's not injured anymore. You can't say that we're not opening things up on offense and that we're not working on it and not go out there and achieve it, and not even just achieve it, because achieving it is one thing. Being able to hit the ball down the field and vertically is one thing. Not opening it up like you have not done really in the first three weeks is something completely different. You have had your moments and times where you've thrown the ball down the field. It's not been successful. You had 2 inside slot fade route throws to Trey Green against Clemson. Neither one of them were connected. In the red zone, when it was a shorter throw, you were able to hit it because Garrett felt better about that and was able to be successful. You hit one to Berryon. But the last couple of weeks, you have not been able to hit those throws consistently enough, nor have you called them consistently enough to be able to be explosive. There are no more excuses. So when as crazy as this sounds, and I know that you're going to say that I'm saying this for a ton of different reasons. Guys, this game versus Southeastern becomes much bigger now than maybe it was a couple of weeks ago or before the season, because you have something that you have to work on. You got to open it up. You got to do some of the things, and you got to show some of the things that you did a season ago. I don't think it's not in Joe Sloan's repertoire to not want to open this thing up, because that's literally how they tried to win games a season ago, because they needed to. Let that puppy fly. You know, I imagine in my mind, this is how I see things. When you open it up against Southeastern this week, I imagine on the LSU Plus series that there's a situation where Garrett throws a fade route to Chris Hilton or Berryon Brown, and the ball in the air is in slow motion, and the Space Jam theme song, I believe I can fly. Let that puppy fly, baby. Open that thing wide open. I said this last night before we were joined by Carter. I repeat it again. I will repeat it again tomorrow. I know that you need to work on some things in the running game. I get it. You're not good in the running game. You're not good. Southeastern, other than getting reps, which you need, the game versus Southeastern is not going to tell us a damn thing about what you can do in the running game. It's not. Frank Selfo, the head coach at Southeastern, says, guys, that is our biggest weakness. It is their biggest weakness. Something that you can do. If you can't run on them, then God bless your soul. God bless you. Because stopping the run for Southeastern has been their biggest weakness. You don't have a choice anymore, because you're basically telling LSU fans the way that we orchestrated games is we did not want to force Garrett to get hurt anymore. Sounds good. Guys, you got to get Chris Hilton more involved. You got to be creative. It's not anybody's fault that you had this situation. It is a plus, and I think it's an overall positive. I think it's a massive positive that you had a hand tied behind your back and you were able to win the games the way that you did. It gives you the positive. It should give you the positivity that with that hand tied behind your back, and some of the things that you were limited to offensively, that, guys, the sky is and will be the limit. But there are no more excuses. Maybe you wanted to go formationally in a different route and not play Chris Hilton based off of Garrett's injury. And you couldn't do the one thing that Chris Hilton does the best because of the injury to Garrett and what you wanted to do. If he's not taking the reps in practice, guys, it's not going to look good. Ask Barryon Brown and ask LSU fans on the first fade route that he threw to Barryon against Louisiana Tech. Or the multiple drag routes that were quite honestly incomplete. I can give you the excuse of things looking a little clunky in moments and times, but you got to go out there and try to achieve it. I don't think, for whatever it's worth, that you should be, or I should be, or anyone should be sold on the fact, okay, we fixed it, we showed it against Southeastern, so everything's good now. No. But it gives you that glimmer of hope of, okay, well, it looked good. Can you go out against an SEC opponent in 2 weeks against Ole Miss and do it there? I think that this is a massive game for your offense. And some of the things that I was told, I want to be careful here. Some things that I was told this week is this offensive coaching staff is treating this like it's a primetime SEC opponent. Because, guys, you have to score more than 13 points offensively. I think Florida's a really good defense, and this offense is not getting that benefit of the doubt. But through 3 weeks, this is where you stand as an offense. You're 94th in the country in total offense. You're 116th in the country in rushing. You're 60th in the country in passing, which is actually a little ironic, considering the fact that Garrett's been hurt. You're 69th in the country in third down at 41%. You're 111th in the country in the red zone. 111th. That ain't got much to do with Garrett. That's got a lot to do with you can't run the football. So until you fix that, the red zone is still going to be a problem. You can't keep getting 3 points. You got to find something that works for you in the red zone. Tre'Davious Green's not going to, well, I shouldn't say he's not going to play this week. He shouldn't play this week. By the way, you're tied for 107th in the country in scoring offense with 20 points per game. Now, to put some context behind this, guys, a lot of teams have played a lot of bad opponents through the first 3 weeks. We all know that. And we all understand that through 3 weeks, these stats don't really mean a whole hell of a lot. But you have been god-awful. You've been 111th in the country in the red zone. You're 116th in the country in rushing. And there's nothing that's going to tell me versus Southeastern, when I think that their biggest weakness is defending the run, that you can do it against Ole Miss, who, by the way, has really struggled in stopping the run too. This offensive line has got to figure it out. You are able to win games, and the defense put this team on their back for the first 3 weeks. It's time for you to go let them have a breath and say, listen, we'll take it from here. We can take it from here. We can go give you points, and you do some of the things that you need to do. But it's not good enough. And you better start opening that thing wide open. You get a mulligan from me, and I've talked about this. You get a mulligan from me for the first 3 weeks. Sounds good. I'm giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I think that you should, as the fan, should give Brian Kelly, Garrett Nussmeier, Joe Sloan the benefit of the doubt. I know it's very difficult to want to give them the benefit of the doubt of how things have looked offensively. I can even agree with everyone, it doesn't stop how you looked against the run, or how you've been not looked against the run. It doesn't stop how you've been able to run the football. Garrett's injury and what defenses have done to you defensively, guys, a lot of teams are playing off of you because they still fear that there is a situation that you're going to throw the ball down the field on them. The biggest thing that happened in the game offensively, clearly, is the only touchdown that you had, was that you showed that you can get the ball down the field to Xavion. Sounds good. They backed off on you, but you still couldn't run the football. Still couldn't run the ball. Florida's a really good team. Clemson still got a really good defense. It's not Clemson's defense and it's not Florida's defense that has been the issues for either one of those teams. Florida and Clemson are 1-2 on the season, not because of their defense. Dabo Swinney can say, well, we lost to Georgia Tech because of our defense. No, you're an offensive-minded head coach. And quite frankly, you've failed your team. Same with Billy Napier. You've failed your team. You've failed them. And LSU is just better than you. You can't come out there and say, we are on the other side of this. And I don't think anybody is asking for this offense to be 2019 LSU. What you are asking is you can't be 116th in the country in rushing. You can't be 94th in the country in total offense. You can't be 69th in the country on third down. You can't be 111th in the country in the red zone. You can't be 107th in the country in scoring offense because you will not make the playoffs that way. You won't. There is no more tomorrow, and that's the way that you got to treat this game versus Southeastern. In reference to Garrett and the reps, the reason I waited on that is this. Guys, if he's not injured, if he is done, meaning the injury part of this is done, if Garrett Nussmeier is fully healthy and ready to go, and when I say healthy, I put air quotes around healthy. I don't think anybody a month into the season is fully healthy. I don't. No one's 100%. Neither will Garrett be 100%. But you are coming out of it. And you got to let it fly. Excuse me. But you got to let it fly. It is of my opinion, and it's been of my opinion since Monday, that he's got to get these reps. Guys, there's nothing that is more conducive for a team offensively finding their way than getting in a game versus an opponent when you have no idea what they're going to do to you and you have no idea what they're running before the play's called for you to go out there and make it happen. Quite frankly, I know Xavier Thomas has been here a little while, but Garrett has still got to find a better connection with him and get those game reps. Barrion Brown, Nick Anderson. He's got a new offensive line. Checks with the center and checks on how things are going to happen and take place. You need those game reps. Sitting him for me was never an option. Well, Blake, what if he gets hurt? Guys, what if anybody gets hurt? You can't play him the first 3 weeks and now walk it back just because you said it's an injury. They felt that he was good enough to go to play the last 3 weeks. You're telling me right now that he's out of it. Sounds good. You got two of the fastest receivers in the country. You better push the ball down the field because you had two possession wide receivers that you tried to do that with last year, and it backfired on you. And the reason that you went out and got a guy like Barrion Brown and why you put a focal point in sending Chris Hilton to SEC Media Days is because your expectation is that you're going to force the ball down the field. Now go and do it. Because as soon as LSU hits two of them, they just need two. As soon as they force the ball down the field, teams are going to back off. It's going to help your running game. And quite frankly, it's going to unleash Aaron Anderson like no other. There is a flip side of this that I want to mention. None of this, to me, based off of what I've seen, is going to help you in the running game. This team has got to be better running the football. I don't know what they can do. I think for what it's worth, at the current moment, it has been a talent problem. It has been this guy is just flat out beating you problem. It's not been a design problem. It's not really been what they've called you are not executing. So, why I understand not doing what you did, or I understand managing the game the way that you did. But, guys, we're going to talk about do's and don'ts in just a minute. We're going to talk about things I want to see him do. And I basically walked all the way through it. I could basically just make that the segment. I could basically make this the do's, the things that you need to do. You got to go out there and establish the run. I get it. But I think this unit more than anything needs reps. I think you got to shrink that wide receiver core down. You got to get Chris Hilton the ball. And I know that Brian Kelly brought it up. The reason I'm mentioning that is because you can't have two guys that are running 4-2s. If you can't get them the ball down the field, then your offensive structure is broken. Then you need to put Nick Anderson out there and Xavion out there and Aaron out there. Joe Sloan comes from an air raid principle offense, and you're asking him to do something that he's never been a part of. Let me say that again. Joe Sloan, whether it be Louisiana Tech or whether it be when he was at ECU, he has been an air raid dude. He is not, his strength is not what you've been asking him to do. His strength is what most air raid offenses do. And you have not been doing it based off of what you think the limitations of Garrett have been. And guys, Brian Kelly basically told you, because Garrett Nussmeier hasn't been practicing. We have been putting him on a pitch count. We have been letting Garrett sit on the sidelines through practice throughout the week and walking him out there on Saturdays and winning. So I say this again. The potential of what this offense can be is astronomical based off of what the defense has built for you. Now, I brought up the offensive statistics. This defense has been lights out considering how bad you've been offensively. You're 25th in the country in total defense, 5th in the country in run defense. Good Lord, that's beautiful. 66 in passing defense. Again, through 3 weeks, that number is massively skewed because you just had 5 interceptions last week and you locked down Clemson. It's skewed on being 66 because, quite honestly, your offense can do nothing and has, in big situations, done nothing. That number is skewed. You're 27th in the country in third down defense. You're tied for 12th in the country in red zone defense, and you're tied for 11th in scoring defense, and you're tied for 14th in the country in turnovers. It's time to give this defense a break. Go out there and whack somebody's ass. But I really do believe that this game for Southeastern has become much more intriguing than it was literally a week ago. It's more intriguing. I end this segment by saying this. If you go out there on Saturday and do some of the same things that you've been doing, you got a lot of questions to answer. A lot. And quite frankly, I don't think that they're remotely going to look close to what they've been looking like. I think that they're going to let Garrett go out there and rip it. And he better be locked in and focused and ready to rip it because I think that they're going to go out there and let him do it. So we'll see. All right. Let me get to a quick break. We'll come back and do LSU do's and don'ts. I see we got a couple of super chats in here. We'll get to those too. Stay with us. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotion. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
We're back.
All right. Frank Castle with a $5 super chat says you'd be looking at Matt House bad. I don't think Joe is there. There's too much talent and too much help for this offense to not be good, top 50-ish. I agree. Guys, if you're top 50, I think that you will make the playoff. The problem is offensively, again, you have been god-awful. And, Frank, the problem is that this is what I've seen from LSU fans. Oh, Garrett starts makes sense on what the offense. Okay, it does not change that you have gotten pushed around in moments and times up front in the run game. It's a testament to you and to everybody that you've been able to win those games. It's not changing the run game. And here's the thing that I would point out. I don't think it's all on Joe Sloan in the run game. I've said that before. I don't. Because, I mean, it's much more – there needs to be much more context to the run game and the run game problems than just saying, oh, Joe Sloan is bad. Guys, I could pull up on this handy-dandy phone here, like what we do throughout a singular day. I feel like I do this every single year, okay? But even some situations, like for an example, LSU ran a counter, and I know that y'all can't see this, but LSU ran a counter, okay, last week versus Florida. There is a wide open hole that Juwan Johnson misses. You have Bauer Sharp getting to the second level, and you literally have Josh Thompson, who didn't have a good enough base that Juwan should have gotten an easy 5 to 6 yards. And you're running in the back of your right or your left tackle on the counter run. That can't happen. I think that there are a couple of things that are happening in this run game. Number one, you're missing blatant wide open holes. Pause. But I also think, too, that when you are hitting the right hole, this offensive line's not holding suit. Garrett's injury does not change your run game issues. It doesn't. By the way, there were like 7 runs in the second half that you had that you ran against 5-man boxes. 5-man boxes. And you were unable to get any push whatsoever. Garrett's injury is not going to completely absolve you of being, what were you, 106, 116th, whatever it was. Let's look back at it. You're 116th in the country in rushing. 116th is abysmal. It's abysmal. All right, everyone do us a favor, hit the like and share. Every episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel, and AYS Sports is always presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. All right, LSU's do's and don'ts. We talked about a lot of these things. So I have like 9 things that I want to see LSU do this week. I'm not going to bore you with the run game. Yes, guys, you got to find a run game. I don't know how else to put that. I think that for what it's worth, they've done a lot of things. They've tried a lot of things. They're not consistently trying things, meaning I think that you ran counter really good last week from an offensive line standpoint. The couple of times that you ran the counter, things were there for you to be able to open up and hit the hole. But because Juwan Johnson missed a hole, you didn't go back to it. I'm really interested this week to see if you can have any run game whatsoever. There's a part of me that wants you to at least get to 150 yards. Can you get to 150 yards rushing? Blake at Southeastern. Yeah, they're god-awful in their up front. They are god-awful in their front 7. I hate to say that. I love my alma mater, but they are. If you can't really get to 200, I think it's going to be questionable. They're not good there. You better go in there and get push. In reference to the offensive line in the run game, though, this is where I would want to start off of things I want to see. I want to see Carius Kern. I want to see Carius Kern this week. If we do see him, I fear we will see him at tackle. He's not a tackle. He's not a tackle. He's a guard. Everybody in their right mind knows and should know he's not a tackle. He is a guard. Let that big freak of an athlete run downhill and mess somebody up. If he doesn't know I don't know all the context of why he's not playing. I don't. What I do know the context of is I want to see him. You got to shuffle some things up. If you're not doing good in the run game, why don't you shuffle some things up this week and see what happens? You've been putting Cohen Eccles, you've been putting Paul Mabenga at left guard. And quite frankly, I want to see Carius Kern there. I'm probably not going to get my way. I more than likely am not going to get my way. But I want to see him there. In reference to the run game, I want to see you throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Literally everything. I want you to offensively come out fast, which we'll talk about next, and I want you to throw the ball all over the yard. But I want you to also, as the game starts, if you're able to put on some quick points, then start running the football and throwing shit at the wall and see what will stick. If you can't run on this front seven, then you have more issues than we need it, and clearly that we need to discuss. All right. The biggest thing I want to see this team do this week is get off to a fast start offensively. If you win the toss, I want the football. I want the football. And I want you to come out guns blazing. I want you to run some tempo. I want you to put the pedal to the metal. I don't want any pussyfooting around this week versus Southeastern. Personally, again, dudes, things that Blake Ruffino just wants to see. Pedal to the metal. I'm not saying go to the line of scrimmage after every play and go hurry up, but run tempo. Snap the ball with 10 to 12 seconds left on the clock. Get some tempo in your offense. Know in that first drive what you want to do. I'm telling everybody and their mama offensively, and I am making them memorize the first 15 plays that we're running on offense. The first 15 plays, start off fast and start finding rhythm. I do think that there is let me say this. There's a thought that I have that I think that you are just leaving so many things open that if you hit the right player in the right situation on some of these things that have been called, I don't think Joe Sloan has been as bad. You're never as bad as it seems, but it's never as good as it seems. I don't think things have been as bad from a play calling aspect as I've seen people just fire him. Guys, quite frankly, there's just a lot of shit that is wide ass open that you are not hitting. And I feel like that there's a translation issue of what needs to be run and what needs to be thrown in the pass game. Run some tempo. Don't let anybody think and say, Garrett, just go out there and throw the ball. Just go out there and be you. Know where you need to go. Study the film. Know where you need to go. You got to get off to a fast start. This sluggish shit offensively to start games is driving me insane. And it's not just a Clemson thing. It's not just a Louisiana Tech thing. It's not just a Florida thing. Guys, you got to show that you have that in your repertoire, that you get the ball and you can go down there and get 7. Because God bless Christ Almighty if you can't do it versus Southeastern. God bless it. But that is the number one thing. And really, quite honestly, if you have 3 possessions, and I will even spot you that you get a field goal, you got to go get points. For crying out loud, even if you got 10 points, it's an improvement of what you've done in the first pair of drives, even if it's 3 drives. Now, you want to get 21. You want to get, and I get that, but until this offense can show me that they can actually put 3 touchdowns up on the board, I'm, I don't care who the opponent is, because quite honestly, I think that there's been a focus issue. There has been a focus issue from you offensively. I know that they're giving you everything that they have. But Brian Kelly on the LSU Plus series came out and said, listen, I just chewed out my coaching staff because we did not prepare better. They showed on LSU Plus today that the preparation for Louisiana Tech, the players admitted, Brian Kelly asked the players on this LSU Plus series, where they take you behind the scenes of the football team. They asked him, or he asked the players, do you think that your level of preparation this week was elite? And all of them said no. The entire team saying, no, coach, we didn't prepare at an elite level. You better offensively prepare at an elite level. The truth of the matter is, defensively, they did. Every week defensively, you've been prepared. That's a shot at your offense because you've had a focus issue. All right. Decision making. I got to see you make better decisions in the passing game. I have been slow walking this for 3 weeks, but I'm not going to slow walk it really tonight. I think you're missing way too many open things. I don't think the injury has anything to do with some of these short route concepts. Garrett Nussmeier's injury has nothing to do with you missing some of these short route concepts that you've been missing. I think that from what I have seen personally, that there is too many things that are open underneath that you have missed that even with the injury should have made you more explosive offensively. I thought Brian Kelly mentioned this briefly, but he didn't go in deep detail, and I wish somebody in the press conference would have asked him this, because we have been managing the game and getting in third and shorts throughout the season. Yeah, you have. Nobody has more 3rd and 5 shorts than you on the season. Let me repeat that. There's no offense in the country. You can go check the NCAA website. You can go check PFF. You can go check wherever you want. No team in the country has had more third downs where the third down has been 3rd or 5 shorter than LSU. It doesn't exist. You are one of the worst teams at converting those third downs. One of the worst. There's way too many things open underneath that you're flat out missing that Garrett has got to hit. The thought that I have had, and based off of the things that I have seen, it feels as if that either Garrett is being told to go somewhere else before the snap, or he's preconceiving where he's going with the ball and not doing what the defense is giving him. But that is not an excuse for me. So, to turn that into what I want to see happen, if teams are going to put a slot, like a big safety or a linebacker on Aaron Anderson, I really want Aaron Anderson to get 10-plus targets. I do not believe that there are a lot of people in college football that exist right now this season that while Aaron Anderson is lined up in the slot, that can guard him. And there are too many times that even when he's on a linebacker, that we are missing it. There are routes where they bracketed him after he started making some catches, and they bracketed him with a linebacker and they bracketed him with a safety. And you have Bauer Sharp underneath that's wide open, and you're missing it. You got to find the open guy. You got to go through your progressions better. So I want to see you do that, because I think that when I talk about the lack of focus that I feel like I'm seeing, it's not an injury thing. It's hey, Garrett, you're injured, so we got to be completely locked in on where you're going to go in some of these underneath routes. Why has that not been better than what it has been through 3 weeks? It's got to be better. If that is what you're going to do, that has got to be more crisp. The air raid principle offense is predicated on you hitting the open receiver inside of 10 yards and then start getting vertical offensively. You got to find the mismatch. You got to scan and find, is Aaron Anderson lined up on a linebacker? And that's when you find the big play. I thought it happened last week when Garrett missed Aaron in the beginning of the game, and they wind up coming back to the same play but flipped the formation, and then Aaron was lined up on a linebacker and you hit him. Guys, that is multitudes of times against Florida. It happened multitudes of times against Clemson, where they would walk a safety down on Aaron, and he's got a 10-yard cushion, and he's running a slant. Hit him every time, please, and thank you. So that has got to be cleaned up. Whether Garrett is injured or not injured, or you're trying to push the ball down the field, teams will walk up if you're completing consistently in between that 10-yard marker. The safeties will have to walk up if Aaron Anderson gets going. The biggest complaint that I have of this offense is that it takes you too long to get to number one. Way too long. Way too long. Find him soon. Find him often. Guys, he was the number one player in the state of Louisiana, the year in the class that he came out. He is fantastic. Find him early. Find him often. I don't give a shit what any other receiver on that team says. That none of them have the ability to do what Aaron Anderson can do for you. Chris Hilton, that I want to add into there. All right. The time is now. The time is now. Talking about slow playing some things, Chris has had steps on players. He's had steps on corners. And you have not thrown it. All right. Again, Mulligan, you better push the ball down the field. Yeah, I know you hadn't practiced it, but good Lord. You got to find Berryon and you got to find Chris. Last but not least, I want to see Harlem Berry. I thought he would get more touches than one last week. I know the trust factor in big games with young players is something that's very sensitive. I get it. You got to get Harlem Berry touches. Is he the running back that you're missing that can hit some of these big plays? Harlem Berry has a big game versus Southeastern. You better work him out there against Ole Miss. You don't park a Ferrari in the garage, by the way. Meaning if you're putting Harlem Berry in there, so what if they know it's a run? So what if they know that he's going out on a passing pattern? I think the biggest excuse that I've seen from people saying why Harlem Berry's not playing is because of pass pro. Why in the hell are you letting him stay in there and pass pro any damn way? Don't park a Ferrari in a garage. Go crank that sucker and let it go. Couple of things that I just don't want to see this week. I don't want you to start off slow offensively. That is a given. But I also want to see that what I don't want to see is a massive rotation early on in the game at wide receiver. I don't think Kyle Parker is more talented than some of the guys that you're not playing over them. You have a 4 to 5 man rotation right now. Your 5-man rotation should be, and not limited to, Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas, Berryon Brown, Nick Anderson, and Chris Hilton. That should be your 5. No one else should see the field. No one. And if you got to go 4 wide, go 4 wide. But here's another thing I don't understand. Why are we putting Bauer Sharp in the slot when you could put a guy that's more productive in that position that can run routes? Bauer Sharp running routes in the slot is not better than going 2 slot guys that you have in Xavier Thomas and Aaron Anderson. If you're going to go 4 wide, open that sumbitch wide open like it's the Rock in the mid-90s Attitude Era. Shine that sumbitch up nice, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up your candy asses. If you're going to go 4 wide, let's go get it. Let's go get it. So that's me. That's what I think. All right. Last but not least, notice how these segments are having absolutely nothing to do with the defense. Be yourself. Be yourself. The only issues that you have as a team right now are predicated on what you're doing on offense. But Brian Kelly came out and said, we're 8 wide receivers deep. No, you're not. You're 5 wide receivers deep. And I don't understand some of the formation stuff that they've been running. Now, the excuse is going to be, and it's not really an excuse, but the real truth of it is we did some of these things because we trust Kyle Parker to block. We trust this. We were trying to manage the game in a different way. All right, well, you're out of it now. You're out of it now. Bauer Sharp is going to get covered. If you're going to go 4 wide, then put Aaron in a slot and put Xavion in a slot and go make teams guard you. Guess what? When you go 4 wide, this is what's going to happen. With the production of Aaron Anderson, with the production of Xavion Thomas, with the speed of Barrion Brown and the speed of Chris Hilton, the truth of the matter is that they can only put 5 guys in the box. Only 5. When you spread them out, they don't have a choice but to put 5 guys in the box based off of what you can do from the wide receiver position and the issues that you cause. Let's stop right there for just a moment. Let's stop right there for just a quick moment. If they don't put 5 guys in the box and they still put 6, or they do something where they have 6, that means that you have 2 slot. One of the 2 slot guys is going to have a safety on him, or they're going to run some kind of coverage to try to take it away in zone coverage. Sounds good. It's a mismatch. Then don't run the football. Then you have more guys. They have more guys in the box than you have to block. Sounds good. Then let that puppy rip. It's not that difficult. I think that we feel as if that we have tight ends that we want to get involved. You've tried to go to Bauer Sharp. And I don't mind Bauer Sharp having a role, or any tight end on this offense having a role. The biggest play offensively that you have is to Bauer Sharp. I'm not saying go away from the tight end. But if you want to get this run game going, you got to get numbers out of the box. And you can't put a tight end out there who is going to block from the slot. You're taking away Bauer Sharp. If you're going to put a tight end in the game, put him near the line of scrimmage, please, dear God. If you're going to put him in the slot, motion him in to the line of scrimmage. But that's the things that I don't want to continue to see. Defensively, in the do's and don'ts, there's nothing. There's just no. Guys, Southeastern could score 21 points this week, and it won't matter to me. It won't matter to me. I just got a message here. It said, Blake, the people's elbow or the rock bottom? The people's elbow. I want this offense shined like a boot from the Rock in the mid-90s. Shine that sumbitch up nice, turn it sideways, and stick it straight up your candy asses. The philosophy doesn't make sense to me. So, can you change it? Will you change it this week? Will be a big question. All right. Any super chats? Anthony says it's the 2019 team all over again, Blake. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far. I don't think that you have the talent at wide receiver, clearly, at 2019. But I don't understand. You're not giving Xavion Thomas the ability to do what he does best. If he can go deep from the slot, then great. But let me ask you all a question. What are teams going to do when you have Barrion and Chris on the boundary and those 2 guys in the slot? What do they do? Let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to back out on you. Anthony says, how do we know? Because Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are the 2 best wide receivers in the NFL. I do not believe that I don't believe humbly that we have the guys, Anthony, with all due respect, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, they're probably the best two receivers in the world. I don't know. Well, how about this? I'll concede the point. Then go and prove it. I don't believe that. I don't think that they're better than the 2013 wide receiver core. But in no way am I comparing this to 2019. I'm not comparing this to 2023. I don't think that you have that level of explosiveness. So, yeah. Corey Rogers says, we need to talk about Nick Anderson. Horrendous blocking. He blocks like a freshman. Want to. He's not, there's no want to. He wants the ball, and he's not blocking because of it. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear. If you're going to be a bear, be a polar bear. Polar bears are terrifying. Them some bitches got webs on their feet, and they can swim. Guys, you know that polar bears can swim up to 25, sometimes 30 miles an hour? Let me make sure that that's actually true. How fast can polar bears swim? Nope, not 30 miles an hour. They can run up to 30 miles an hour. So I was clearly wrong. They can swim up to 6.2 miles per hour. Boy, was I off. They can run up to 30 miles an hour. Maybe it was an orca. How fast do orcas swim? I'm not going to lie. I've been on this little orca documentary, 34 to 35. Dude, orca whales are absolutely spectacular. Anyway. All right. Bryce with a $5 super chat says they need to stop getting cute in the run game and run zone, counter, and that toss play over and over again in practice until they count it in their sleep. The toss play worked. You want to know why the reason it worked? Because you got everybody out in space, and when you got everybody out in space, your running backs were able to hit and find one hole to hit and get 8, 9, 10 yards. Can't fumble the football. But, guys, you ran it 4 times, and you were averaging 8 yards per carry. That's the shit that gets me, right? It's like, hey, why are you only – like, you ran it 4 times, and you get 8 yards a pop. Why aren't you running it more? I know people probably want – and, Bryce, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. Thank you so much. I know people want to see Jack Pyburn in the I formation. I wouldn't mind you doing it with Bauer Sharp, to be honest with you, to give Jack some rest, because Jack's playing a lot of defense. Do it 4 or 5 times, show it against Southeastern again, and let's see what happens. All right, let's get out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Keys to victory tomorrow. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace.